it turns into a private link, but who knows, you know? Also, at this time of the day, maybe the Wi-Fi is
Hey,
more
Professor.
beneficent. Yes.
So I could hear you, but I couldn't turn on my mic or my camera, but I got it working. So I just want to tell you that.
Good. That's it. You know it. This is a class of challenges, right, with this technology. And if we keep a good attitude about it, that's all we can do, right, Charlie? So I appreciate it. Okay, everybody's with me. I'm recording. Let me just also do this is probably the problem
Master,
too.
I'm gonna restart my computer.
Okay, good idea. We try everything we try, you know, restart the computer,
How's
go
that?
back and forth. That's the issues. We also know that's what I'm saying, because in the beginning it was like, oh, if I get out once, one of the things is you should be able to get back in. This is open. This is not. Notice I make our sections not password even, because I want it to be as easy, less restrictive as possible. Okay. All right. So let me try to do the, I'm going to try to record on Loom since I'm having trouble with YouTube. See, I have problems and all I can do is document, right? I'm recording in Zoom, so maybe it's recording the problems that I have in Loom. Okay, welcome, folks. Another night of technology issues, how to resolve them and how to work together and how to, right, Michael, how to support each other and take the lead, right? That's what we're learning in this class. And we're going to try to, I'll give you a heads up on some of the things that we're going to do in the future. Okay, any comments or overall questions? Put that in the chat. If you need to see me personally about issues, you know, after the class, I'll stay with you as long as you need me. Okay, so let's start. And Gabriella, thank you, and Daniel for taking the lead. And I just want to don't you think so? I want to just applaud Daniel for just helping us every session. Really, Daniel's in my other class, and he's taken the lead to even help other students. He's becoming the qualifying for the my teaching assistant for next semester. And all I can say is I have the best comments I've heard from other students, Daniel, on the excellent work you're doing. So thank you. Okay, so let me share my screen and we'll do some housekeeping as we always do. Figure out what's due, where is it, what's happening. See my YouTube all of a sudden going bonkers. And this is the wrong section. That's no, it was the right section, right? So I go to section K, perfect. And then I'm also going to go to K audit, make sure that's in. And notice since I'm in already, they don't ask me for additional authentication. And I'm going to my courses here. And I'm going to go to K audit. So I got that into your end user account. And under the groups, then I have the Zoom and the screen casting. Perfect. Okay, now I have my regular, everybody's in the regular section. We do the Zoom. At the end of the session, we'll do attendance. Let's go to what's due. Okay, the what's due here. Today is February 7th, right? Charlie, that's the right date. So I have February 7th. We know that TG stands for Tech Guide 2, which is software quiz, was due before class. And the Wiley Plus TG2 adaptive assignment is due. That's February 7th. That is today. Now on Monday, we have the screen casting exercises found under the assignments and quizzes. So you have in here screencasting exercises that you can look at. So I got my what's due. Under assignments and quizzes, you see here I have the exercises. You see the screen exercises here of what the objective is. What I suggest, again, as I told Michael in the beginning, I suggest that already every individual knows what screencasting program recorder they're going to use, having to check with everyone in your own individual group to make sure that it's unique. Once you've created that screencasting review, basically it's a review, right? Talking about the screencasting program, the operating systems, what recording downloads to your computer, the advantages and disadvantages, whether it's what is the pricing tier, and then this will be done in your own native file format. So for QuickTime, it'll be MOV. For my MSN recorder, MPEG-4. As a group, when you come and do the group recording, of course, you'll be doing it in the cloud, a Zoom recording without passcode. It's set and done. And each member of your group will be discussing each of your screencasting program features. You can share your screens and look at it. Plus, you'll use one of the screencasting programs within Zoom to talk about, to overcome the deficiencies of Zoom recordings. And you'll upload that as well. So you'll be able to see, as an example, the screencasting exercise where you can see Dylan use QuickTime, Daniel use OBS. And in the screencasting, there was Dylan had the QuickTime. He spoke about, you just take this as an example, right? What were the file formats? What were the free and the pros and cons? And again, as I said, let's keep it short. Bullet point ideas of what it is, what were the difficulties you had, and then the group recording exercises. What did you cover in the group recording exercises, and how did you overcome some of those, and what were the positive part? Okay, and then Daniel has done his individual, and of course he'll do his group. Didn't need to put it here. We already have the group there. Okay. Any comments? Put those in the chat. If there's anything I need to deal with that's important for everyone, you can unmic yourself and let me know. Okay, so we got that. So basically we know on Monday, we're gonna cover that. And on PowerPoints and documents, you know, under PPT, what you can do is you can see here PPT2, which is the final PowerPoint. And next we're going to cover, just so you know, we're going to skip to chapter 5, which is data management. And when we do with data management, I'm just going to move this. We're also going to talk about algo, and algo is short for algorithmic, or an algorithm. We'll talk about automated trading system. What's an algorithm? What is automated trading systems? What are the pros and the cons of those systems? So I suggest everybody download, if you'd like, chapter 2 of the PowerPoint. And also if I go to Wiley Plus, right under the software, right on the end, I can see the software adaptive assignments that you should have done. And I get the statistics of that. That is self-grading. And then the, anywhere where you touch, you can touch any part of these. You can click on any of these and you will see software. So this right here is key. This diagram here. Everybody see this? Charlie, you see this diagram here? Application software, system software, and hardware. You see that, Charlie?
I see it. I see it.
Good. This is the key. Last week, Charlie, we talked about hardware. What was the main takeaway from, it wasn't last week, it was a couple days ago, but it seems like years ago. Last time we spoke, that hardware, what we were trying to do was emphasize the CPU, the brains of the computer, and then talk about memory that gets confusing for people. People use the word memory in different ways. There's basically, there's what they call in the book, how they call it primary storage, primary memory, and secondary memory. You remember we were talking about that. If I go back right to my PowerPoints, right? And when I went to my PowerPoints and I looked at PPT-TG01, Gabriella, where does this file reside? Right here, before I touch anything.
Is it like downloaded in your computer?
I haven't downloaded it yet, though I really did. Last week, you're correct, Gabrielle. Technically, this is already in my download subdirectory. My download subdirectory. So if I went and I look what is in my downloads, you'll see, I see here, TG2 was here. And then if I look for earlier this week, you see, I see TG1. Excellent. You're on an excellent roll, Gabriella. So Gabriella, the idea, this file right here, which was on 2/5 at 2 p.m., and this was the same file at 2/5 at 7/11, that looks like in our class, right? At our time, where does this reside?
I forgot the name. It's not
Yes,
clouded.
I can't. It's in this PC, in this downloads, right? So if this PC and this downloads, this is where it resides. And then if I click on this, I see it like a little circle, this pops up.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea that we talked about last time was the idea what they called primary storage and secondary storage. Sometimes they use the word memory. And sometimes secondary storage, they use the word memory. In primary storage, you remember we talked, there's a lot of different, that memory is part, we had what we called RAM, random access memory. Remember that?
Yes.
Good. I'm just kind of like reviewing real quickly. You know what I mean? Is that all right with you? You think that's important, Gabriella? If not, I'll move on.
Yes, it's important.
Okay, good. So primary is the memory we did. And then there was something called ROM, which meant read only memory. And always what I want to emphasize, Gabriella, is who cares? Just to, you know, memorize another acronym, it's not going to do anything. But here, the idea when this right here, this PowerPoint that I'm editing right now is residing in my RAM, in my random access memory. That's why I like to use the word memory rather than in the book it says primary storage. That means that I execute. So let me repeat again, Gabriella. And you know this, but you just don't pay attention to this. When you use this program, this file in PowerPoint, you're executing it and editing it in RAM. It's always faster, and that's how it executes. When you want to store it, right? Let's say I wanted to save, right? Where we do it, I want to save these changes, right? You know that it's kind of like file save as, and I can save it, right? You know that. So I can do those file save as, and I can even save it. So if I wanted to bring up again, right? So if I went here and brought this up again, look how quickly it came up, right? Because it was already here, it's in cache, it can do it. So I have right here, I have random, then I have a part. This is where, if I put this is where executes program. Or I can kind of put runs program. It's quick, relative. And read-only memory, if we recall then, Gabriella, is, and this, which is important before I forget, this is volatile. And what do we mean by volatile? That when the electricity goes out, what happens to this? Let's say I lose my battery. I'm out of battery here and I'm out of it. I lose this program that's recorded in RAM. Do I lose what was in secondary storage memory? No. This is stable. This is non-volatile. It remains. Now, can my hard drive get corrupted? Sure it can. Can my hard drive that I'm not able to gain any access to it? Sure. But this is the difference where I execute in primary, and in secondary, this is where I have that stability and non-volatility. And what I asked last time, Gabriella, is I asked, how much RAM do you have in your computer, remember? And how much secondary storage you have. Did you find out, Gabriella?
For me, it kind of like it doesn't show like the number, or maybe I'm looking at the wrong
Okay,
page.
so what you want to do is, and in your case, if I looked in your case, then Cole, did you find out how much memory you have? And what do you have to do in
No, I
order to
didn't.
do it? I asked last time, don't you remember? So what do you have to do? So Google to find out, would you have a Mac?
Yeah.
So you have to find out. So Google how much you did. And Caden, did you find out how much you have?
Yeah, I think I found out last class.
Okay, so find out again. So how'd you find it?
I looked it up, or first I went to the settings of like about my Mac, and then
About my Mac. So go, and where did you find that?
top left corner on the
Top
Outlook
left corner, about my Mac. And what does it say, Caden?
says, are we talking about the memory right now?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it says 18 gigabytes, and then you push more info, and it gives you like more details and stuff about it.
Like, what does it give you?
Storage. Um,
Okay, so let me stop sharing. You share your computer.
okay, hold on. Um,
Who else got it? Raise your hand if you got it from last time.
you want me to share?
Yeah.
Okay, desktop one. Hold on, it's saying I have to like open settings to do something.
Michael, did you get yours? So Michael, share yours.
It's saying I have to quit and reopen real quick.
Okay, so go. Michael, do it in between. So Michael, share your screen. Okay, so Michael, where is it?
Yeah, like Caden said, you just go top left about the Mac.
Okay.
And mine's
Okay, so great. So top left about the Mac, it says Mac Pro. It says, let's go. It's like we rehearsed this, Michael, right? So if you wanted to do this, it says processor. That processor means what? It's the CPU, right? And it says it's how fast you have that processor. It's an Intel processor, and it's 2 point, in this case, what does that say? 8. And then it says graphics. It has an Intel graphics card to be able to do what? And that's in megabytes to be able to do graphics. And then it says memory. So is that RAM or is that primary or secondary? Where it says memory right there and under your MacBook in the gray.
That's primary.
That's primary. That's your RAM. So did you see that, Gabriella?
Yes.
So did you do it on yours, Gabriella?
Yes, I have it has 8 gigabytes.
Okay, so Michael has 16, you have 8. And then we asked the question, who cares? We're going to be doing some financial modeling and some predictions. So what do you think we should use, Michael's or yours? Or it doesn't matter?
Michael's,
Why?
because he has more.
He has more. And what do we need? And what did we say when we put the software in? Where is the software going to be executed in? In RAM. And if there's not enough room, some software won't even work on 8 gig. They'll say, hey, you need more RAM in order to do it, or it'll be so slow that it maybe his will work more. And it also matters on the processor. And now, Michael, click more info. And then it says processor, memory, serial number, Apple Care, Mac OS. Because we're going to need, right there, stop. It's like we rehearsed it, Michael, right? So we talk about the operating system, right? And then it says right here, what's your operating system? Perfect. I'm glad that you made it a little larger. It says basically what? It says Mac OS what? What is after that, Michael? It says Sonoma, right? You
Yeah.
see there under Mac OS, it says Mac OS, and it says which version it is.
14.2.1, which is just
Right.
my software.
Right. And it says built-in Retina Play and your Mac ID. So in this case, Garen, it's no big shakes, right? But you need to know what you got. So what's better to see the RAM, right, Gabrielle, where everybody says, oh, I don't know. You don't have to do it. Okay, good. Perfect, Michael. Okay, so stop sharing and then I'll go back. So this becomes then, if I share my screen then, right, this becomes that for that chapter. And now, if in this case, Michael, I exit PowerPoint, I don't even want to save this, but I exit it, what will happen to these slides? Michael,
If you
what
exit
happens
out,
in RAM? I'm exiting now, I'm exiting. And it says, do you want to save? Because it may change it. And I say, I don't want to save. What happened?
did you just delete
The
this?
RAM versus storage. It's primary storage versus secondary.
Oh, that would be secondary.
Well, I exited, so it took it out of my RAM, my primary, but it remains in secondary because the secondary, what did we say, was non-volatile. it stays the same. It's not going to be lost. But I no longer have that TG2 in my applications. You got it?
Yeah.
Great. So now if I look back here, under system software and application software to everyone, I have something called, I said that this was the major slide I wanted you to look at, where I had hardware here. I have apps here. Everybody knows what apps are. Nobody has any problem with that, right? And then Isabel, you know what apps are. You know what applications are. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, my apps on my phone, my apps on all my devices. And then I have something called system software. And that system software, another name for system software, Destiny, is what? An operating system. So the other idea for an operating system that I know is in order to have hardware, I need an operating system. That operating system is like the director to tell my hardware what to do with the application, to save it, to load it, to upload it, to print out, right, Destiny? You know that. So anyone I have, so you have a phone. What kind of phone do you have, Destiny? Who's the manufacturer?
I have an iPhone.
What operating system does it have?
iOS.
iOS. What does OS stand for?
Is that operating system?
That is, even though you never knew, right? That's the operating system for iPhone. And then they also have an Android. Have you ever heard of an Android operating system, right? And who cares? It cares that the application that you run, whoever designed the application, they have to have a version that can talk to your operating system. So their applications, when you go to download an app for what? For iOS, that application has to run with iOS because that's what you have on your phone. You cannot run easily an Android app running on your iOS. It doesn't work as well. And sometimes what they do, some software developers, what they will do is have an application software, and they'll first, because if they're in the United States, they say, since iPhone is more prevalent, they say, let me do iOS first, and then I'll do Android. In other parts of the world, Android's more popular than iOS, and some applications will run first with Android, then from iOS. So what you need to know then, and I can ask that easily, Destiny, now, is what operating system do you have on your computer?
On my computer, I believe it's Windows.
You have Windows. Okay. And what do you have, Garen?
I have Windows as well.
You have in Windows as well. Okay. Good. And what do you have, Gary?
I have a Windows.
You have a Windows operating system? What computer do you have? What laptop do you have? What's its name?
Well, right now I'm on my Mac, but my main computer is a Windows.
Okay, your main computer, you're on a Mac. And what is your Mac? What is the operating system on your Mac?
Let me check.
You would have to go to what? About Us and go to more info. And
Yeah,
you see
it's the Ventura 13.0.
Okay. So you have both.
Yeah.
Great. So one of the things that we know then is, depending on what it is we have what now everybody knows how to find what is their operating system. So what I have doing next is I'm going to be doing our next chapter that we'll be looking at is data. And I want to look at big data, Gary. When I look at big data, I want to figure out, instead of just our readings, I want to do some basically exercises, right? So in order to do that, I want to use data. So I figured I want big data. Where can we get big data real quickly that's important to us. So what's your major, Gary?
Entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship. So it's just like this, the same idea, Gary, is that when we want to go in the futures, we want to be able to see how we can grow our business. And a lot of times it'd be what hardware we're going to pick up may have, and what operating system will be, what application software we're going to be using. And how are we going to use it? Whether we're going to use it on your main computer, or whether we're going to use it from your laptop, or whether we're going to use it in the cloud, some software and some hardware. We have to decide. As an entrepreneurship, we may even do some cloud, Gary, because we don't know, or maybe we'll start off with your individual computers, and then if we need more RAM and we need more hard drive and we need more GPUs and we need a faster processor, we may say, well, maybe we'll go to the cloud to get that, Gary. Get those services. So what I'm going to be using, so this is the key here. So I have to decide what hardware I have that will match the system software, which will match the application software. And then I have something called open source software, which in this case, Joshua, you have an idea what open source software is? Right here, open source software. And if you don't have an idea, right, Seth, what should you do?
Look it up.
Yeah, open source software.
It is a software that is distributed with its source code.
Okay. It's software that's issued with this source code. So that's really what this is, Seth, is teamwork, right? Now we got to figure out what the heck that means, right? But at least we have something to go for. And when we think about that, Seth, we got to figure out what source code is. And William, what's source code? You have any idea? Philip, you have an idea what source code?
No, I don't know what source code is.
Okay, and what do you, is that a good answer in this class?
If I don't know, then yes.
No, you don't know. You say, I don't know, but I'm looking it up, right?
Okay, I'll look it up.
Not okay. That's how we do it in this class. If you don't know, there's no penalty for don't knowing, but you need to look it up. So so in this case then, Michael, what is source code?
I got the answer.
Who's saying that?
Me,
Who's
Phil,
me?
Philip.
Okay, Philip, what's the answer of source code?
It is a text listing of commands to be compiled or assembled into an executable computer program.
Okay, so what does that mean? It's the instructions to create a program. That's what it is. If you have a program, you're writing in source code. And basically what open source software source code means is that it is open, that people can read it. Either programmers can read it and users can read it. It's part of a community. And you say to yourself, well, if I'm the end user, I don't even know what source code is. Of course, why do I care about open source? Even if somebody gave it to me, I wouldn't know what it is. And in this class, we're going to be looking at source code, not to definitely write it natively, but to understand what's happening and to make changes to it, and to ask it even in English to make some changes. So one of the things that we think about in generative AI and in AI and machine learning is now the trend is to have what they call no code or less code, meaning that our assistant will write the code for us. We give it the instructions and it will write the source code for you. Open source means that it usually is free, and open source, sometimes it costs for tech support, they're allowing it. And for some times in seeing a program, proprietary software is closed that you can't see it. And proprietary software many times is charging it. Apple and Microsoft, for instance, in their operating system for their software, they charge. They make a living on that. So there's different operating systems. We know on the phone, it's Android and iOS. For the Mac, we know that we have Mac OS. We have different versions of it based on a lot of times they use it in different versions. Windows we have, and then Linux. In this case, Natty, have you ever heard of Linux? And if you haven't, what should you do, Natty? And with
Look it up.
everyone else, and Jalen, right? And Aiden, what you be doing? What operating system are we talking about? Is Linux. So what should we be doing is looking it up. Just like we did before, right? Caden, of looking it up of what is Linux and who cares.
Yeah, I'll look it up. Give me a second.
Right. So we should be doing it all together, right? Not waiting just for Danny, right? Of when we say Linux. Danny, I don't see your head. Can you fix it? That we see with the camera. And Natty, did you find something?
Yeah, it's an open source operating system.
So we know that it's free. We know that we can read it. And what else does it say? Natty, you're on a roll.
It says an open operating system. No, an operating system is a software that directly manages the system's hardware and resources like CPU, memory, and storage.
Okay. And what does it say about Linux? Linux. Reread that. Tej, how do you pronounce your name? Tej? What's it? I don't hear it. You're muted. You're muted.
Tage.
Tej. Did you look it up or you know it? Linux.
Looking it up now.
Okay, good. And Jalen, did you find it?
I'm looking it up right now. I'm
All
looking
right,
for like the
everybody's
differences.
this looking up is taking a long time, you guys. So what'd you find, Tej? For Linux?
Sorry, the Zoom thing pulled up in my way.
Yeah,
It says
okay.
Linux is an family of open source Unix-like operating systems based on the Linux kernel, an operating system kernel first released on September 9th, 17th.
Okay. So basically it's what? Another operating system. You've heard of Mac, you've heard of Mac OS, and you've heard of Windows, right, Tej?
Yeah.
So there's another one called Linux. The Mac and the Windows are proprietary. Linux is open source, and a lot of times people use it to make, one is to be, one, it's free, two, there's other, in this case, Daniel, what would you say the advantages of Linux? Daniel uses Linux. What are the advantages? Daniel.
If you understand computers pretty well, there's a terminal, and you can use that for a variety of different things. Also, it's not owned by Microsoft or by Apple, so there's less data privacy concerns.
And can you
yeah.
run every software on Linux?
Mostly. So on Linux, if you want to run a Windows, like an exe file, there's something called wine, and that essentially allows you to run some of those files.
Right,
But,
some of those.
Yeah,
Right.
like there's a lot of files such as Respondus that don't work on Linux because it's so
Right.
invasive, and Linux won't allow that.
Right. So one of the things is for somebody that's more technical, Like Daniel, Linux works. For other people, they don't bother with that. They just use the traditional and they say, hey, I'm going to buy it. It comes with my Mac. I'm going to have it and Windows.
Yeah, and also I'd add customization. Like you can make
And
Linux look like anything.
customization. Right. And so when people, for instance, in Rasmussen, the marine science on the Keys, they're doing heavy duty research on the waves and on predicting hurricanes. They're using Linux so they can modify, they can do a number of clustering computer, they can use a lot of CPUs together to do heavy use. More scientific applications are doing for Linux. So what we're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks is we're going to be looking at software for trading systems and for algorithmic trading. So what I want now, I don't want to save this. So if I don't want to save this, what happens, Gabriella? It's out of my memory. It's out of my random access memory. It's out of my primary storage. Got it, Gabriella? We're set.
Yes.
So now what I want to do, if I go back to our regular section, what I'm going to be using is a program, and those that have Windows operating system, we're going to be using a company's software called NinjaTrader.com. And we're going to be using software not via the browser. We're going to be using software that resides and we download to our hard drive, let's say, Gabriella, and then when we execute it, we're going to be executing in RAM, and we're going to be using, in this case, NinjaTrader version 8. Now, we're going to be using it in a simulation mode. And we'll be using it, and you just have to sign up, and then you're going to find the NinjaTrader 8, those of you that have, and you're going to use the version 8 as the easiest. And they have some mobile apps. You see this on the bottom. We're not going to use their mobile apps for trading because it's not going to be able to do our algorithmic trading and looking at strategies. That's why I'm not going to use theirs. But Gabriella, what do you have? What kind of computer do you have?
I have a Mac.
She has a Mac. So traditionally in the Mac, you have Mac OS that doesn't run NinjaTrader unless you've used something like Parallels to get Windows on your Mac. So what I've done is I've taken the computer labs in the School of Business and asked IT to install NinjaTrader 8 in the lab. So in case you don't have it on your computer, you can use it in the lab. But I like to have alternatives, Gabriella. And my alternative is I'd like you to use Windows, the NinjaTrader 8, and I'd like you to use it possibly on a remote desktop. A desktop that holds Windows that NinjaTrader is installed with. How do you get to it? Via your browser. So I had the University of Miami's IT department set up what we call a cloud service. And they used a cloud service. Let me put this in here. From Microsoft called Azure, which is a cloud service that allows one to use hardware, operating systems, and software. on a remote computer. So what I had IT here do is give us the Azure service that Microsoft, this is Microsoft, and the university pays for this service, that allowing me as an instructor, all my students to gain access to this remote computer. So Michael Vessels, you understand that?
Yeah, that
So,
makes
okay, and what operating system are you using? What computer do you have in front of
the
you?
operating system started with a V. I have a MacBook.
Okay, you have a MacBook, okay? So you don't have Windows right there. So we
No.
have it. So what I need everybody to do, so we're gonna use this. I'm gonna use NinjaTrader version 8, and I want to use 64-bit versus I don't want to use 34-bit, 32-bit. So if I were going to be looking at that, Michael Wessels, then the 64-bit is going to be more powerful than the 32-bit. And I'm going to be able to use more data into it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. If you have Windows already, you can download that NinjaTrader version 864-bit on your computer, or you can go to the lab. Or a lot of times what I'd like to do, since we're an online class, Michael, is as I'm going through and teaching you about algorithms and trading and your exercises, I'd like you to do it at the same time. Wouldn't that be good? So you can do it at the same time. One way is you could go to the lab, but if you say, hey, I don't want to go to the lab now, it may be busy, it may be some professor is in there giving an exam or something, you could do it as well. So,
So
and what I'm liking to do, Michael, too, is give you an opportunity to even figure out what is this cloud service, remote desktop, how does it work? So later on when you're working and people are saying, hey, we got to do this, you can say, oh, I remember we could do it as a cloud service.
what's the main difference between the way the Windows operates in this versus the MacBook?
It's a different operating system, so different software, only certain software. The software has to be written for that operating system. NinjaTrader,
Right.
NinjaTrader isn't designed for that Mac operating system, so it won't work unless you're running Windows. That's how
Right.
we have.
Okay.
That's what you need to know. So what I need from everyone is if I go to I need to go to my web links. Where is it? I asked, I just have to find it. Okay, that's what I need. So, put in Azure Virtual Labs. So what I need is I have to go to top. I need to do this for you. It's just going to be easier. Sure. See here, this Azure Virtual Lab. Let me bring this all the way to the top. Let me submit. We say okay. So now, Michael, do you see this at the top of your web links? Go to web links.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
What I'd
It-
like everybody to do, everybody paying attention here, Michael Russo and the other Michael as well. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to click on this link that says herbert.miami.edu VLab. And let's see if we open in a new tab, or I'm going to just open it up in a new window.
This might just be me, but the that's not a link in our web links on my end. The Rainer link.
Refresh.
Okay.
Is it there? That's why I need your feedback.
It's asking for a Microsoft sign-in.
What's it say? Did you click on it?
Sign in with your school account.
With your school credentials.
Yeah, as if you're signing into your email.
What do we click to get there again?
You just go to go to web links on your regular section. And the first one, the first link. That's what I want to make sure that it works. Because in my first class, nothing worked. My second class, everybody got it. So we got to see. And it was because they didn't set it up right, the IT.
I'm not prompted to like log in on my end. I think I'm already logged into it.
And I have here, access local resources allow. And it says connecting and launching student ID, and it's asking for my credentials. And I put yes, credentials, and it brings up my name, applying user settings, applying group, preparing
Professor,
windows.
for anybody who's having trouble, just do the regular username, not the full email.
And it's working.
Yeah, I tried with my full email, but when I just did like the MXR 2810,
Okay, as your username, not as with your email. This is what you should get.
It also worked for the email for me.
Yeah. Depend. May work well. All the time, right? Both my Michaels, right? My Michael squares is issues, right? And before we even do anything with the algorithms and do fun things on trading, we got to make sure that I can get this remote working. This is where everybody should get to. So put in the chat there if you cannot get there. And then Daniel, you can look at it. You know what I mean? And then in the corner here, which is interesting, is in the corner, you see there's two Ninja Traders. You see that, Tej? Did you get in, Tej?
Yes, I did. I do see the two Ninja Traders.
Okay, and you see one that says 64-bit, and you see another one just says Ninja Trader 8.
Yes.
We're going to be using the 64-bit because we want to be able to get more data in there.
Okay.
And then I click on it just so you can get a preview. You guys get a preview. We'll see if it works. That'll be another issue. You know what I mean? But at least we can get this. We need to get this screen. And then next time we meet, we'll already go in and we'll talk about data and having connection. We'll go into the data and you guys can play around with it. And we'll have some fun.
I don't have all those Excel sheets in mine. I just have like some basic
No,
stuff.
those are mine because it's great because I've done this before. So they remain, you can even save, since the remote desktop, you can save. We'll be taking our data from Ninja Trader and bringing it in, exporting it into Excel. And you'll always have it staying here. And then you'll basically export it to your OneDrive, or you can export, send it to your email. You can do other things with it. Because this is my area within that, what they call student, my virtual desktop in Azure. Great question. Because these are, if you looked at it, these are some of the data that I collected. So if I open it, this is an Excel spreadsheet. I'm not opening it in my computer. I'm opening it in, you see here, NASDAQ 100 SRush. I'm opening it up in the virtual computer, and then I could save it, or I could even share it to another area. Or you see here, I have export. I can do a number of different things. This is, in this case, Gabriella, this is in memory of not my computer, but it's in the memory of my NinjaTrader. And when I exit, I can exit basically in some ways. I can, this is, notice this access local resources you should probably have. Is this, look at this, allow the remote computer, that's the one that Microsoft is providing me to access the following resources on my computer, on my individual, on my premise. And then it says the clipboard and the file transfer and the printer, I can do it on my computer. And I say allow at this point, and then it makes that connection. Then it asks for my credentials. For me, when I put in, then it loads. This is loading where it was before. If I go back to it, this was what I had in the previous, in the student VDI. And then at this point, I can close my Excel. And what do I see right here then? Michael Wessels, is I see the remote computer's desktop. And then I have a Windows flag right here. And notice in the remote computer, these are the software that they have available. So if I wanted Excel, I could use it on my own computer. I could use it in Microsoft 365, but also this remote computer. So it gets a little bit confusing, but if you wanted that, you could do that. And then if I click on this, you can see here, it has like a little power button. Notice that under power, there's something called disconnect. Do you see that, Michael Russell? And that disconnect means
Yeah, I'm looking at
disconnect
that.
me from Azure.
Right.
So this is a solution that may not work for us when we're doing NinjaTrader in real time, you know, for that it may be too slow. But for our simulation, it's good enough. But later on, if you were in a hedge fund, Michael Wetzel's, and they say, hey, we want to do some simulation, some people may say, hey, that's way too slow for me. It'll be faster on your own computer if you had Windows on it. But it's good enough for teaching purposes. It's good enough to try it out as a group. You could even take this and then have Zoom on top of it and show somebody how to do it. Or somebody in your group could use Zoom if they had a Windows machine, or you could go as a group to the lab and do it. But I want to give everybody one opportunities, Michael. Plus, what else do I want? I want to teach you about what are the capabilities when they say Azure says you can do remote access. And then you can be informed. You said, yeah, I tried it out, but there's issues with that. But if that's all we have, it may be good enough. Sometimes good enough is good enough, you know, that if I have to teach somebody about trading, we have to look at code. It's good enough for us. If I tell you, let's try to modify the strategy, it's good enough. But if we wanted to be professional with it, number one, we probably wouldn't even use NinjaTrader. We would use something else. But all of them have the same kind of ideas. And talking about data, we can connect to data. We can get different feeds for our data. Make sense? But before we do this, I want to make sure that everybody in our class was able to do that. Our first class, I basically said, oh my goodness, good thing I tried it out, because people, they forgot to put it, I had my Excel with all everybody's username in there, and they didn't open up, they only opened up one tab. And again, you have to learn how to get it. So I'm going to just disconnect under power. And then if I had the power, I can disconnect. Or what I can do is after a while, it will just shut down. So if you don't use it for a while, they don't even, I can just disconnect. I disconnect now. I'm just in one of my tabs now. And you see this. What they called it was Miami Herbert Business School Azure VDI. So they said you can use this for your classes. It makes sense. Why not? You can expose the students to something, and you can come back and you say, I got skills on it. Okay, let me stop sharing. Questions? So Daniel, did everybody get it?
Seems so.
Okay, great. So that's what we'll do next week. You see that, Gary? And then if you want to, you can go, Gary, and you can download NinjaTrader 8 on yours and also see what it's like. And you have a choice. That's the beauty, Gary. You can do it on your own Windows. You can do it. And also it's good for you to try out the remote. Sometimes you just have your Mac. You can do that. And then also you can, what would be interesting, Gary, is see the speed difference. How to do the same part. I'm doing doing it on the remote. How much slower is that? And how much it's a little bit more clunky, to do it. And then you get the idea of where you would recommend for teaching purposes, for trading, this is way too slow. And that's why even Google now has done a contract with the exchanges and spending billions of dollars with a B, Gary, billions of dollars to reduce the latency. By going via a browser, you're really slow in terms of trading, especially if you're doing really high frequency trading. If you're trading just once a day and not in a certain price, it doesn't matter so much. But if you're really doing it, they're saying professional traders don't even want to use the internet. They want to have their server right next to the exchanges in such a small manner that latency is reduced to basically less than an eye blink. But for us, it's good enough. So let me share my screen, do attendance, stay with me afterwards. Let me go to, this is the audit, so I have to go back to K. And I'll go to my courses and I'll look for, here's my K audit, and here's my K. I'll go to attendance. I'll go to check-in. Start checking. 5749. Stay with me if you have issues that we need to discuss. Otherwise, I'll see you on Monday and we can start doing some fun stuff. And everybody knows now how to document. We got issues, right, Tej? Document.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you, Dr. Rush.
You're welcome.
Thank you, bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. So Charles, did you get the code? Charles Gregory? 5749.
Charles? No.
No, okay. I'm
I
ending.
made an Excel with grading template.
Okay, want me to see it?
Yeah, sure.
Let me stop sharing.
Like I have no idea if this is what you wanted, but I like
Yeah, but let
Excel.
me just, we'll take it from there. Okay.
So
Hold on.
oh, it's still loading.
Okay,
So I added
okay.
all
So
the
you put
people
from all the class, from each,
from the ones I have access to. So I only have access
okay.
to H and K. And then I
Okay,
did
but by the way, let's give you J too.
yeah. So I did conditional formatting. So if the person did it good, it goes green. Did it bad, it goes red. And then it has what's it called? Data validation. So it's just one or two.
Wow, you did
And
it.
then this formula gives the grade based on the rubric here.
Okay, so what do we,
So
so what do we put in?
so say, this person, Liat Clem,
Yeah,
say he has a working Zoom link,
okay,
but unfortunately has a password.
okay,
So you put yeah there. And then the YouTube stream does not work.
okay,
And then we subjectively say the clarity in the video that he's explaining or whatever is like 80%, and the
okay,
description is like a 90%. Then his
Okay.
total grade would be a 60.
okay.
But that's just with the weighting I have here. Like
Yeah,
this could
so what I would do is I would give us 10 points,
uh-huh.
everybody 10 points, and what I would do is I would make it, especially for the first one, and I think the Zoom is going to be more, it was somehow the Zoom was more of an issue, and I make it basically maybe even 9.5 or something, maybe even like a percentage or something like that, that'd be worth, a percentage is good. And I'd make it quite liberal. If they
Okay.
didn't do, I'd make it more liberal for just the first one, that if they've done it, and they have
So
working
like more
links,
points to clarity and description,
yeah,
less
more
points to
coin.
just
And
yes
some
or
of
no.
them really had issues that
Yeah.
sometimes, they block me out of it. My
Yeah.
whole thing was, I wasn't even expecting, to be honest with you, I wasn't even expecting everybody to get the stream live to YouTube, but I figured it
Mhm.
was enough of a challenge, kind of like to differentiate
So that
those.
could be worth a little bit and just like
Yeah,
general.
but
Okay.
did they get it? You know what I mean? They could get 100. If they
And
didn't,
then
but if they documented it, it could be 9. You know what I mean?
okay,
And
yeah.
990 on it. But my main thing was is document. If they didn't get it and that's it, they didn't document, and they weren't there, then it's, if they didn't do anything, of course it's 0. But if they did
Yeah.
something, so I would make it more, and then you can pass it. It's very nice, really.
Yeah, me and Dylan
We
are
can
gonna
use
work
it.
on this tomorrow.
Yeah, work on it tomorrow, and
You
then
should see I have this Excel I made for my grades. I love Excel. Look at these formulas.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. So what I wanted to tell you, Daniel,
Yeah.
is in that case, but make yourself ask have that send a note to Dylan to
Yeah, we're
put you.
gonna Zoom
Okay.
tomorrow,
Okay,
so we
so
can do all that.
have you put you into J. So you're
Okay.
in all of the audit areas that
Yeah.
you should be, just because you weren't there, just because you didn't, you know what I mean? But you can come and look at it and give him feedback on it. And then you can contribute that maybe based on this, you decide with Dylan how you want to set this up. But you can look at,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? You can set that, and then you can tell Dylan to get in touch with Spencer,
Mhm.
and then she can do, since she's in J, she
Yeah.
can put in the grades. I see what Dylan, if he wants to do, does he want to? I'm giving Dylan to be the head TA,
Mhm.
so I don't want to micromanage, but I'm just saying that this case, if you guys want Dylan, why not get her help if she's willing, to do
Yeah.
J, and you can kind of give the back, and then you can give Dylan the what I'd say in terms of he can make the marks. But I would be for that one, I'd be I'd be generous, but give 100 to those that got, you know what I mean? Got
Yeah.
the give definitely hundreds for those that got it working.
Okay,
And those
I
that
can do
didn't
sometime.
should get, if they documented it and they showed that, hey, this is, it's beyond their control. Some of it wasn't beyond some of them also waited to the last minute, but we delayed it, but at least give it that way, and that we give feedback right away. And those that didn't do anything,
Yeah.
it should get immediate feedback that, hey,
Yeah.
you just can't.
The other question I had,
Yeah.
how many points is the individual part worth, and how many points is the group part worth? And is it like one assignment and it's just some part is in one?
No, I think we should make it, and I'll discuss it with you. I'll look at what I had before.
Because if you want, I could make it into a 1% and just weight the individual and group differently.
Or do we want to
Or
do
two assignments.
or do we want to make it 2 assignments? One that they actually did there. It may be easier. I don't know. What do you
Either
think?
or. I mean,
Yeah.
in Excel, it's just one more thing.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what I had. Let me just see here. Let me just see one thing. Let me just share.
I'm trying to stop my screen share. It seems like
What?
it's stuck. I'm trying to stop the screen share, but it seems
I
stuck.
think I'm sharing, right? You see my screen?
No,
No?
I don't.
No?
Zoom is. Oh. Do you mind if I task kill it and just rejoin the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you're with me?
There we go. Yeah.
Okay. So if I share, let me just see what I did last semester. Let me see, if I go to grades, I think it shows what I did last. I go my grade center. And let me go to my full grade center. Oh, look how stupid I am. I went to the audit area. I said, well, I don't have any students. Okay. I think it's getting too late. I've been sitting too long. Okay, so let me go to my grade center. Full grade center.
Oh, you're still recording, by the way.
Am I? Where am I recording? You
I
sure?
stopped the cloud. Yeah, YouTube's still live too.
Is it?
Yeah.
You sure?
It says it on my screen.
Doesn't say it on mine. Let me just see here.
Yeah, I still see it live.
Let me stop sharing. Let me see. It's oh, good. Thanks.